Welcome back to the Mental Fight Podcast. Today I talked with Brittany Nieman. She shared with me her 3 F's: family, fitness, and faith. She talks a lot about what that means to her when it comes to her career in fighting. We also talked about balance and confidence as fighting has given her in her life. So make sure you tune in. It's a great conversation.
Storm's coming.
Storm's coming.
There's a fucking storm coming, man!
Storm's coming.
Boom. We're back for another season 2, where we get a chance to talk a little bit about the life outside of the cage, the things that we don't see necessarily outside of fighters' lives. And I've have the lovely pleasure of getting to finally sit and talk with you, Brittany, and meeting you officially here. This first round, I want to spend some little time just to get to know you a little bit. This first round is just like in the fight, right? We want to fill out our opponent. We want to kind of see how they move, how they adjust to different things. So in this aspect, I want to just take a little bit of time to get to know you a little bit as a person outside of the cage and inside of the cage. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, first, I just want to thank you for even taking the time to interview me and talk to me a little bit. So thank you for having me on. I'm Brittany Nieman. I'm out of the Twin Cities in Minnesota. I am a wife. I have 3 daughters, ranging from 3, 7, and 9. I currently work as a chaplain in Union Gospel Mission. It is a homeless shelter, both for men, women, and children. And I work at the Women and Children's campus as the children's chaplain. So, yeah.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. I feel like it sounds like you give service outside of the cage, and that's what your life is all about there. And fighting and a mom, I already know.
Yes.
How do you juggle that?
Yeah, it's so I actually had just finished seminary school in December. So I'd been in school for about 6 years up until December. But a lot of my juggling comes with just support. My husband, my dad has been a huge help babysitting our kids. Sometimes our oldest goes to practice with us. So just having that family support has really been what's made me available to be able to do everything that I'm doing.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely support is key. Like I keep coming back time and time again to that. It takes a village when it comes to anything that you're aspiring to do. So having people to support you along your journey is so big.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about like how did you get into fighting? Where are you at in your career? What kind of sparked the interest in the first place?
Yeah, so my dad is a black belt in Taekwondo, and I'm my dad's only child. And so I was with him through all of his tournaments, and I would watch him go to practice. I even did a little bit of Taekwondo and Kempo when I was little, but I was too shy. And of course, my dad was a black belt, so he wasn't going to be in the kids' class. So if I couldn't be by my dad, I'm like, no, I don't want to do this. But then once I got older, I was like, I really want to box. And I had this crazy goal of like, I wanted to be the first woman to knock out a man. And so I wanted to do boxing for a while, and I had never gotten into boxing, but I was an athlete. Like I did basketball, I did track, I was a sprinter. I even wanted to play football, but it wasn't until about 20 something, 21, 22, I met my husband, who did mixed martial arts before we met. And so he was like, well, I can show you like a little bit of the grappling side, until we find a gym. And so we ended up finding a gym located in Woodbury, Minnesota. And so I was like, I already kind of have the striking from my dad, but if I want to do this mixed martial arts thing that has everything, which is what really like pulled me in, was I like striking, but to know like you can go to the ground, you can kick, you can get like all of this combined. Like I've always been kind of like a roughneck girl. So I was like, I want to get into this thing. And so I was like, okay, well, I got to add wrestling or jujitsu or something, even though striking was like my love. And so we found the school that we were going to for the past 8 years in Woodbury, and we went there as a 10th Planet school. And so I started training there, and about after 2 years, I took my first MMA fight, but fell in love with jujitsu there. Like I never thought I was going to love jujitsu the way that I do now. And so I am coming up on a year post ACL recovery surgery. So I I tore my ACL last January, so January 2022, preparing for my fourth fight. And it was during practice, and I had no idea what I did. I just knew that my knee kept buckling. So I ended up having to pull out from that fight. I still competed in two jiu-jitsu tournaments after, because I was like, I got to get some competitions in because I'm going to be out for a year.
Yeah.
And so I did that, but now they've actually okayed me to compete now. Not quite MMA. Like, they told me my numbers are awesome. They would rather me wait. The longer I wait, the better. So currently, right now, I'll be taking my first competition since surgery next month in August, hopefully in Iowa at Subspectrum. And then after that, there's some other local tournaments that are going to be coming up. So my plan is to hop back into the cage the beginning of next year, just to give my ACL some time, get my confidence built back up. But I feel awesome. So right now, jujitsu is like my hyper focus,
Hmm.
and MMA is just like I have an itch to hit people. I have an itch to get in there and just rough up people, and so I do that. But yeah, my love for the sport definitely has focused more on jujitsu now, but MMA is like, oh man, I'm gonna do that until I can't. So
Um,
yeah.
it sounds like, well, I've connected with like so many things that you said. It sounds like you've just been like an athlete most of your life, like from one sport to
Yes.
another. Yeah, I also played basketball and ran track. And when I got a little taste of MMA, I was like mind blown. Like, oh my goodness, I couldn't stop, you know? And I too had like this long layoff. I can imagine like everything that kind of goes into like having that injury and being off, but it sounds like you've stuck in there and you're ready to get back into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've had three babies. So when I started, my oldest was one. It's funny because after my first fight, my second child, she's about 6 months old, I think. So I was nursing. Like, I went in, won my first fight, and came out and was like nursing. Everybody's like coming up to congratulate me, and I'm like, hold up, like let me nurse my baby. So I've taken breaks off to be pregnant. So we have three. But I rolled through my third pregnancy. I just picked the right partners and stuff like that. But yeah, it's definitely different when it's an actual injury. At least with pregnancy, I could still like do almost what everything I wanted to do. Where with injury, you're like, man, I actually kind of have to chill a little bit more. But I still worked out. I still did what they told me I could.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh my gosh.
yep,
I think of like rolling with the punches, like you literally were like, I'm still sticking with this. I'm going to
yes,
also, sounds like having kids, being a mom, none of that deterred you from still getting on the mats and training and doing what you can in between. So sounds like now
yeah.
everything's coming together and you get to finally put it together here coming soon.
Yeah, and I'm super excited to get back into it. And if anything, like, this break has changed my mindset on how I train. And just even when I was pregnant, like, my top game became better because all I could do was top game stuff. But it's a lifestyle for me. It's not just something I'm interested in and I'm trying it. Like, fitness itself is a lifestyle for me. Like I said, I will do jujitsu until I can't. Like, if I'm 90 years old out there competing on the mats, I'll be 90 years old. I'm gonna be lifting weights as long as I can. It's just, this is like truly a lifestyle for me. So it's something that it's not going to go away. Faith and fitness for me, and family. Those three F's for
Faith,
me is like,
family.
hey, I just need those three and I'm good.
Love that. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. I really like that faith, fitness, and family. It's
Yeah.
like the driving forces behind what you're doing, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Like you said, it is a lifestyle. Fighting is definitely a lifestyle. And I know for a fact for me that I have learned so many life lessons from fighting because it's something that you adapt. And so this next round, I really want to get into some of those life lessons that you have gained from fighting or just being in being in a combative world, and how has it added to your life? What challenges have you faced? So next round, we're going to get into that and dive a little bit deeper. Round two. This is where we kind of got to get a little bit of the feeling out, learned a little bit about you. I really want to see where's your heart. Where this is where we're getting ready to attack.
Okay.
Where what have you gained? What strength have you gained from fighting that helps you to keep pushing the pace, to help you to keep driving forward the things that you want in life? So tell me a little bit about how fighting has impacted you, for the positive, for the negative or challenges. What are some things that have come up for you?
Yeah. So I like to start with the negative and then go to end with the positive. So I will say one fight camp that I went through faith wise. I'm a Christian, so faith is like really my number one driving force. But I was so hyper focused on this camp, and I felt myself being pulled from what my purpose was. And so the negative part of it was showing me that I was pulling away from my family. I was pulling away from my schooling to be able to become a chaplain. And it reminded me, you have to like share this time. You can't be so hyper focused on one. You got to spread this time out. And so I kind of came out of that fight camp feeling a little guilty and actually overworked. It actually affected my fighting negatively. I was so overworked and I put almost too much work into my fight camp that I was drained. By the time I got to the fight, it was like, oh my gosh, I put so much into training. And so the negative effect of that was I was too hyper focused. So it
Yeah,
showed me how to balance my life. That I should again be able to have faith. I should be able to have my family and my fitness and fighting together. I shouldn't have to eliminate one for the other. It should be able to all blend together and to be able to do time management and to be able to put down some days, hey, my body is screaming at me, take tonight off.
yeah,
So take tonight off. It's okay. You know what I mean? Like listen to that. At the end of the day, you're going to be ready. You're going to be ready for this fight. You know, it's not like you're eating popcorn for 6 months. You're like, okay, I'm going to hop in the ring. No, you are putting in the work, but listen to your body. Your body needs to recover. Take that time to spend with your family. So that was a negative aspect of it, but also a positive in it of teaching me time management. But fighting in jujitsu, just as a female, has given me so much confidence in my physical look. Like, I don't know how many people are like, oh, you got 3 kids. Yeah, I do. You know, like I look great, but also my confidence in just my physical strength and my mental strength. Like I can walk through where I work at. It's kind of bad down here in downtown St. Paul. You walk out and you see a lot of things going on, and you don't know who you're walking by, but I'm able, again, with my faith, to trust in God. He's walking me, he's protecting me, but also my physical actual strength. I know how to defend myself. I know that if something was to happen, I would be able to protect me or my kids, and I'm able to pass that down to my kids on this is how you protect yourself. If they never compete, I don't care, but I want them to be able, as women, to walk around and say I know how to defend myself. So physically, fighting has given me so much confidence, and I love sharing that with other women and other people in general of like, try this martial arts,
yeah,
you know, and you get humbled. Let me tell you something, like you get humbled in fighting. Like there's days where you're on top of the world, you feel like you could take on the rock, and then there's other days where you're like, why am I doing this? I think I'm a white belt, I'm not a purple belt today, like here, take my belt back, you know.
Mhm.
But it's definitely given me this confidence and just the ability to take care of myself, you know. And
Yeah.
with that confidence brings joy. I don't walk around scared and cowardly, you know. It's like, hey, I'm here. My presence is here, you know.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
the it builds. It's so much of, for me. I feel like it becomes so much of who I am, in a sense of like my inner world, my inner piece of who I am as a person, and adding that confidence, that feeling of like you said, that not that I want to have to use any of these skills, but I have this sense of empowerment that I do know how to protect myself, and that just level of confidence. But then also, like you said, the back and forth of feeling really confident and then getting humbled, but then you still come back every day. And I
Yes.
feel like that's the process. That's where we grow as beings, is that we aren't always going to feel 100% confident every day. Sometimes we need those days where we're like, okay, I have more work to do, and that's what keeps you
Right.
coming back, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then earlier when you spoke, it's like my favorite word, like my favorite theme of just life, and this comes down to like balance, like you were mentioning
Yeah.
before. Um, I'm now just stepping into that part of my career where I like had many camps where I trained way hard, and it was this piece of like I feel like I'm not doing enough, or if I'm not training, my opponent is training, and we want
Right.
to make sure that we're doing everything in our possible, because it's
Yeah.
this fear that if I'm not showing, if I'm not like going 1,000% all the time, that that's going to be the opening for losing at the end of the day. But it's quite the opposite, because like you said, our body requires recovery as well. As beings, we require other aspects of life outside of just that mission oriented piece. There's family, there's our social lives, there's all this other parts that fall into our mental health that makes us holistically well. And somehow we also have to really do our work to make sure we maintain that balance, so that we aren't leaning too heavily on one aspect, because then other things definitely can kind of get not addressed as much as it needs to be.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. Facts. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is so real in that aspect. So jujitsu sounds like that's where you've been most of the time, but like striking is your thing too.
Yeah.
Um, so when it comes to where you are in your career right now, where do you see yourself in the future? What are your like goals for where you would like to take fighting?
Yeah. So my husband and I recently, the 10th Planet Gym that I was talking about, we left there in January, and we are now training out of Bellum in St. Paul, Minnesota, which is, it's been interesting of a transition to go from 8 years of no gi to now combining gi and no gi. So is primarily a gi school, but it also has no gi. And my love is no gi. It just fits my style. I'm more evasive and quick and going off of speeds. And once you add gi in, there's these grips. And you have to worry about getting off grips, and
Grab
it
it on.
changes the game. But I'm so glad that we've switched to this gym. It has given me a whole new mindset in nogi. So it's really improved just like my wrestling, my top pressure, my defense, just everything all around. I feel like I'm happy that we switched, and it's making me just a better jujitsu artist and a better fighter all around. Um, but my goals is I would like to keep MMA fighting until I would say 36, 38, just realistically. I had been fighting at atom weight for all my fights except for my first one. And I don't think I'll go back down to atom weight. I think I'm more comfortable. I'm in a weird spot where I'm 5'2", 3/4". So I'm about 5'3", and I walk around at a healthy weight of about 120, 125. And so trying to figure out, do I drop down to 105 and have more women that are at my body frame, or do I stay at 115 where I feel more healthy, but now they're kind of getting taller? They might be dropping down from like 135. You know what I mean? So it's like, what am I giving up? But I think I feel more comfortable and stronger at 115, and just have to let everything, whatever they come in as, it doesn't matter. It's just, where do I feel the strongest at? So I'd like to keep fighting at 115, take some more amateur fights, and then go pro and enjoy it until, like I said, 36, 38. I'm 32 now. So fight some more years and see where my body's at. If I can push 40, I'll push 40. But ultimately, jujitsu is what I would carry on competing.
Yeah.
If I don't continue in MMA, I would love to be like a professional sparring partner for somebody, because I'm still going to have that itch to want to rough people up, and fight. But I got to be smart too about taking care of myself. Where jujitsu, it's not as hard on the body, but you can compete as long as you want. But I would love to get big in nogi. I would love for my name to be like plastered, ADCC, all these big tournaments, and be known like the Eddie Bravos, like the Boogies of 10th Planet, and other people outside of it, the Gordon Ryans, all those people. But in the female aspect, I would love to get there. That would be my ultimate goal. But I'm still gonna be fighting. So if UFC calls, I'm not gonna say no.
Just stay ready so you don't have to get ready
Yeah,
to
I'm
say.
gonna stay ready. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I have this. That's my. I have the same mentality. Like I want to fight, but at the same time, like my body's only gonna take me smart, intelligently. I'm only gonna do that for so long. But jujitsu for sure. I definitely, because I see older people who are like in their 60s and 70s still
yeah,
doing jujitsu, and I'm like, this is an amazing sport and amazing way to stay active, get in shape. And so I was like, I can totally see myself sticking with jujitsu even beyond that. So I
yeah.
really, yeah,
And I
definitely.
would love to open up my own gym. Like that's also the end goal, is to be able to open up my own gym. So we're working on that too.
Awesome, awesome. So lots of ambitions, lots of plans for the future. You're getting back in there. Fighting has given you like positives and challenges along the way. This next round, I really want to kind of get into, it's that last round, right, where you put it all out there, right? This is where you show your heart and what who you are as a person. So I know that you may have a quote or your fight name, something like that that means something to you that connects to life in itself. And so this next round, we'd like to get into that. Round three, we're gonna put it all out there. Would you like to share with me about your? Tell me a little bit about your fight name. Where did that come from? What does that mean to you?
Yes. Yes, I love talking about this because it was so organic how I got it. So, my dad has a best friend named Aaron Davis, who they did taekwondo. They did a lot of tournaments together. They even did some jujitsu grappling stuff together, but mainly taekwondo competitions. And so I call him Uncle Aaron. But it was before, probably like a month out before my first fight. And he was just kind of giving me like the prep, the prep talk of like, this is what you need to do to prep for the fight. And at the time, I did not have a nickname. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to go, like tenacity Brittany or something, like what am I going to describe? Like, I don't want to have some lame name. But he started talking and he was like, you just got to train your body to be a war machine. And I was like, ooh, I want war machine. I want that name. And I liked it because it's not like, I sometimes don't like names that are like, okay, this person's going to win every fight, because then when you lose, they're like, oh, but your name is this.
Yeah,
I don't, you know what I mean? Like, well, I thought you were so and so, but War
yeah,
Machine for me, whether win or lose, you can be a war machine. If you go out there and fight in battle and you don't quit, you just fight and you go. And I was like, I want that because I'm going to war. I want to be out there like a machine, right? Win or lose, they're going to be like, she lost, but she fought War Machine. You know what I mean? Like, that was the War Machine, went out there and was War Machine. And so it fit me. It fit the tenacity, the way that I grind, the way that I fight. And I just was like, there it is. War Machine. That's my nickname.
yeah. I mean, that's big. You have to be able to go out there and fight from bell to bell.
Yeah.
The consequences of not doing so are really big and fatal.
Yes.
You have to
Yes.
be able to adapt and go with the flow too out there. So, which brings up the quote, adaptability. Be like
Yeah.
water. And tell me a little bit about
Yeah.
what does that mean to you?
Yeah, so Bruce Lee's quote, for me, it's all about being adaptable, and that's in life, and that's why that quote sticks with me, is because it's not just in fighting, it's in life. And again, my faith drives that, is to be able to go into any situation, positive or negative, and say, you know what, I'm gonna make it through. And just like water, we adapt to the shape of whatever we're in. It doesn't mean that I change who I am. Water doesn't change that it's water just because it's in a water bottle or in a glass. It's still water, but it adapts to that position and what it's put in, and it flexes. And so for me, that quote stands out for me because that's how I am as a fighter and as a person. I don't necessarily change who I am as a person. As Brittany, life does change me in maturity, and I grow and I learn new things, but I still am Brittany. But I'm also able to adapt. I'm also able to take on the punches and to take on the things. Maybe I go into a fight with this plan, and now this girl is not who I thought that she was. I have to adapt. I can't now, oh my goodness, the plan falls apart and now Brittany's falling apart. No, okay, she's doing this, I'm gonna do this now. And to be able to be just free spirited, to be able to do that. And that's in life too, is hey, I trust that God got me, and whatever I'm going through, he's there. Everything happens for a reason. Some things suck, some things are great, but I'm gonna go with the flow. Literally, I'm going with the flow.
Yeah, yeah. Like one thing that is inevitable, and that's change in life, right? We're always changing and growing, evolving. And I really do feel like if we can grasp the skill of being adaptable, being flexible, we're really going to be able to grow the most because
Yeah.
life's always going to hand us things and say, hey, make something out of this. And if we are rigid in our mind and we want things to only always go a certain way, and we don't have that adaptability to be able to use what we got in that moment, we're going to find ourselves stuck. we're going to
Right.
find ourselves, taking a lot more punches because things are
Yeah.
going. Go ahead, try something new.
Right.
Um, make the needed adjustments as we go, right?
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
that really resonates with me too. I really see the connections with fighting. Like you have to be able to just go with it sometimes, like mostly all the time, or else we're
No,
gonna
yeah.
be
Yeah,
stuck.
I don't know if you watch Dragon Ball Z, but Goku, when he's in the, I'm trying to remember what the state is, but it's when he has like the silver hair. It's one of the newer episodes, but Ultra Instinct, that's the stage that he gets to.
Okay.
And I mean, I watched that episode and it matches the Bruce Lee quote. It's like he was beat down, but then he just got this confidence and this power where he was just flowing with everything, and everything, he wasn't even thinking about it. He was just letting it happen. And
Yeah.
I'm like, as a fighter, that's where I want to get in life also. But as a fighter, it's like, I want to be able to just, I don't want to be thinking about it. I don't want to be like a video game where it's like, okay, A, B, C, the combos. It's like, no, I want my body to just see it and it happens and it goes. And so, yeah, that just what we were talking about made me think about the Ultra Instinct
Mhm.
mode that Goku gets into. Anybody who watches Dragon Ball Z will know exactly what I'm talking about.
Um, and I think a part of that ability to be able to just your body reacts and you just go. The behind the scenes part is that's all the time that we spend in the gym, all those practices of drilling. It comes down at the end of the day that we have to mentally trust that, hey, I know what to do. I know that in
Right,
these situations that I'm going to do this. But the moment we like put too much pressure or try to force some things, then it kind of stifles our ability to be able to just let our body flow. And so
exactly.
I really think there is that balance with that of having that self trust that you put in the work, that you know what you're doing, so that allows you to be able to just let it flow, to get
Right,
flow state as they call it. Yeah.
right, right. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh. This has been so great talking to you. I like connected with you on so many things. I feel very like similarly about just
Yeah,
things that I've gained with fighting too. And I'm really looking forward to continue to following your journey and watching you
yeah.
get back out there. So for everyone else who's watching and listening, where can they find you to continue to watch your journey as well?
Yeah, so I'm mainly on Instagram. I do have a Facebook. So if you just looked up Brittany Nieman, I'll pop up somewhere. But mainly Instagram is where I'm at. So if you go on Instagram and look up War Machine 0777, three sevens after the zero. That's where I'm at. We actually started an apparel line for jujitsu and fitness gear.
Yeah.
And that is tagged in my bio right at the Instagram, but it's Fighting Spirit Martial Arts and Fitness.
Okay.
So if you look up Fighting Spirit MAF.com, you'll find our gear. It just launched in March. So we're still getting some new designs and stuff up, but I'm mainly on Instagram. I want to give a shout out for sure to Gary Brown, my manager, who put this all together. And then I would love to give a shout out to my home gym, Bellum, in St. Paul, Minnesota. Also, Combat News is who I'd want to give some shout outs to. Coach Shelton Harrison, who was my first ever interview and ever sponsor. And then Fighter Alias also. Just want to give a shout out to them who actually have been rocking with me for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Shout
that's
out to
it.
the team and everyone who support. That's awesome.